Hi there, my name is Monica Gallagher and I'm starting a video series about cryptids. And I've recorded this so many times today already, I can't even tell you. Yeah, so I'm a cartoonist and illustrator. I work on a ton of comics and illustration projects, but within the last few years I've become completely obsessed with cryptids. I started this series, I did cryptids of every state, so I went around state by state and showed, through light investigation, certain folklore, sometimes ghosts, kind of in celebration of local lore and a lot of cryptids that people hadn't heard about. So I started with the prints and then I decided to expand on them into these little booklets. Let's see if we can, where I go into more detail about each of them. So far I've only gotten a few. I haven't done them for all 50 states yet. So I thought it would be more fun if I could work on those booklets while involving you guys. So in my very cursory research, because unfortunately I'm not a cryptozoologist, I'm just a huge fan of the work. So while I draw and put together my little booklets, I thought I would tell you a story about each of them based on my very flimsy research. But hopefully it'll be fun. It'll give me something to do and make me feel like I'm actually having a conversation with you guys rather than just shouting into the void, which is kind of what most comics people feel like they're doing most of the time. Yeah, I won't be on camera anymore, and I think you can see why, because it's a pure Muppet hair day. I dyed my hair the other day, and then I toned it today, and now it's like various shades of metal. I don't know if this has happened to anyone, but yeah, I'm gonna have to put my hat back on. But I won't be on camera. The camera will be on my work. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this little test run that I'm doing, and if you like it, maybe we'll do more. Maybe I'll stop shaking my shoulders. We are talking about West Virginia's Bat Boy. I'm gonna get my nifty little iPad, which hopefully you guys can see okay. I'm gonna be zooming in, and as you can see, I have my old sketch, which I blew up, and now I'm going to ink over it, adding more detail and bringing this little guy more to life. I use a felt tip brush pen, which was I believe it was the Retro Supply Company, which is my new preferred brush, even though I feel like I switch brushes constantly. All right, so here we go. So Bat Boy is a much beloved creature that kind of shot to stardom from the pages of the tabloid Weekly World News in 1992. He's half bat, half boy. He's said to be around like 2 feet tall. He's got eyes the size of dinner plates, which I should beef up a little bit here. He's got fangs, he's got big ears. Your general hybrid Bat Boy. But let's get into his origin story. The fun part about Bat Boy, the fun thing with Procreate is I can erase 1,000,000 times. So the cool thing about Bat Boy is that his discovery kind of stemmed off of the discovery of a real cavern system in West Virginia, which is now referred to as the Lost World Caverns. So Lost World Caverns. And they were originally discovered in 1942. And originally, they were used as a trash chute for farmers to basically toss all their trash in, all their, including livestock, which is disgusting. And I'm sure absolutely didn't create any kind of haunted burial ground situation underneath the land of West Virginia from dumping all those dead farm animals in there, like you do. But then after the 40s, coming into the 50s and 60s, they finally cleaned out all the garbage that was kind of chucked down there before from the farmers, and they created a safe way to go in there, and they did a nice little spot, and they realized there's over a mile of passageways going down 245 feet. So no word yet on how many cow ghosts they ran into when they went down there, but that's basically what they had to sort through on their way down. So Bat Boy in all of this was one of the innocent victims of the initial cavern hole, aka the trash chute for the farmers. He was just this poor little regular human boy, which is why it's kind of confusing that he's this hybrid beastie now in our eyes. Oh, here come those big saucer blade eyes. Ooh. So he was just a young boy who unfortunately tripped and fell into a hole, which is relatable, and ended up stuck in the cavern for most of his life. So what's a little boy to do but befriend the local bat colony and become one of their own? Is that the bats raised him as one of their own, and I guess he developed super sight in the dark, super hearing, hence these big old eyes that he's rocking. Probably has a cool sense of smell and gotten a little goth while he's been down there living with the bats. But there's another idea about who was living in those caves before Bat Boy got down there, and it was just a race of subterranean mole people, I guess you could say. You know, just your average cave dwellers who don't come up on the surface. They're probably like allergic to light. They feed off of something down there. We don't know about them until like all of a sudden one day someone falls down a hole and gets stuck in another world, and then they're forced to raise them as one of their own. Which kind of reminds me, did you guys ever see The Descent? Because I feel like it's almost like the kids' book version of The Descent. But anyway, I digress. I hope that's not the race of subterranean cave dwellers that we're dealing with Bat Boy, because that would be horrific and not a good childhood. So, once the caves were discovered, they cleaned up all the cow ghosts, got rid of all the trash, they made it like a nice little tourist spot. Then apparently the FBI, and I don't know how they knew about him, they went in, found Bat Boy, and they're like, hey kid, you're coming with us. Can't have you running around in the underground lair that is your life and be looking like a bat. So the FBI kidnapped him. And this was 1992. This is when the Weekly World News story came out about Bat Boy. So after word, I guess, got leaked that the FBI had gotten themselves a little Bat Boy escaped. And for pretty much decades, he would kind of alternate between going out in the public, making a splash, falling in love, said he endorsed Al Gore for president. You know, he was just generally like living his life. And then when it all got to be too much, then he'd retire back to the caves for a bit and, you know, maybe rejoin his people, say what's up, show them what having a tan is like, all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, that's basically the story of how Bat Boy got started, and I love that it stemmed from this discovery of an initial cave system that is really very cool and also creepy when you think about how many cave systems there are underneath us that we don't know about. It's basically like the episode of, is it Missing 411? Where they map all the disappearances in national parks with the underground cave systems that we're aware of and how they sync up. And speaking of sync up, like falling into sinkholes, shit like that. Bat Boy is like a fun, because he's a beloved character. They made a musical out of him that ran until like 2001, all about his life and adventures. And remember, this dude's only like 2 feet tall, so he's like this cutie patootie, just running around, living his best life. I wonder if being raised in a cave by bats stunts your growth too. But yeah, Bat Boy has become this celebrity since the 90s. He has this very famous portrait that's very terrifying. This little face with these big eyes screaming. Lots of fangs. I chose to draw him here. It's kind of like your average hip kid Bat Boy. Because just because he was raised by mole people doesn't mean that he doesn't like a good hoodie, doesn't want to wear some cut-off jeans, vibe out in the world. He's a little bit like Persephone, where he just pops in and out when he feels like it. He's like, you know what, it's a Hades day, or you know what, I think it's an above ground day today. His visits don't coincide with the seasons. What if Bat Boy really is just Persephone in disguise? Something to think about. All right, almost done. I like this brush, but sometimes it gets to be like a little too shaky. I used to brush by hand primarily before I switched over to the iPad, which I kind of want to get back into, so maybe if I can figure out my camera situation, because it took a lot to just set it up so that you could even see this angle without it falling on me. But if I can figure out how to videotape, I guess it's just video, doing live art stuff, then I will definitely try to do that, because I think that would be fun. I don't know, it's just fun to ramble to an invisible audience while I draw, and hopefully it's kind of like you can put this on maybe in the background while you draw, and then we can have a draw party. And where we are now with Bat Boy, and I'm gonna color him and shade him. You know, Procreate does this little live playback. It plays back what you did, which is super convenient. So I think rather than bore you guys with any more, because Bat Boy is kind of, it's a small story, but it's very sweet to me. I don't know, it just represents like an era of American like obsession with tabloids and the unknown and just fully embracing this little kid that maybe could start a whole generation of bat people that we don't know about. Alright, so that's it on Bat Boy. And I will color this guy and put those files up next. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope this wasn't too weird. It is weird and it's awkward, but I hope it'll get better. But if you want to hear more, let me know. Alright, bye y'all.